Hope all is well. Wanted to take a quick minute to talk about some of the economic consequences of the current environment we are in. And so I'm currently standing in the water on the beaches of San Juan, Puerto Rico, and trying to dial back with all the issues happening up in the Northern Territory. But I couldn't help myself because I saw something today that said the Dow closed at an all-time single-day low or something at 1,200 points. And so I'm thinking about, wow, I'm in Puerto Rico now, and I was reading up on the pension crisis they're having here and thinking about two major economic consequences, which will end up being broken promises and shattered dreams. And so I'm thinking about the debt issue in this area here with over the last couple of weeks, just reading up on the pensions here, and there being some things worked out for an actual default, and which will basically mean just a haircut of debt, restructuring of debt, however they choose to do it. But the new governor, she's hesitant to really bring the full force of cuts needed because of her concern for the pensioners. And so as of now, it looks like primarily all the pensioners that are on the higher echelon, those that get paid the most, have taken more of the haircut to date. But the biggest concern is the haircut that's going to come to the working class, the middle class, and lower class individuals in regards to their economic income. And so no matter what, the promise of getting a pension in this area here, there's going to come a day where people will not be able to receive what they were promised. So it's inevitable. But yet the only thing the governor can do here is try to kick the can down the road and try to prolong this thing from happening, and not even factor in the current health situation that's plaguing the world at this moment. And so as I mentioned earlier in the live stream about how the current health crisis is borderless now. It's just not isolated to one country. There's countries popping up all over the planet, and therefore governments will have to respond in the only way that they know how, which is to borrow and try to plaster over and paper over all the things needed to try to keep the citizenry calm and continue to have the confidence in the government itself. But yes, it won't work. And so with these broken promises comes shattered dreams. And so you have a good portion of the population, predominantly the older generation, that are dependent upon those promises being fulfilled. So all those pension promises, they're going to be reneged upon, just because, once again, whether it's by actual default in regards to what's happening here, or restructuring of debt, or it's going to come to a point where the central bank, Federal Reserve, will begin printing and cutting and doing all types of creative ways of trying to keep this economy somewhat alive, when it's inevitable that this current health situation will cause all businesses of every kind to suffer some losses. And so I saw a forecast not long ago about a cut of, I think, 1.1% or 1% from the IMF on economic growth or GDP in the next couple of months. And I'm thinking, like, wow, 1%, that's extremely low. And so I realized that everything you hear from the mainstream news will be predicated towards keeping confidence in this system. So I saw another article as well talk about right now is a good time to buy the dip. Buy the dip. I'm thinking, like, it's not a good time to buy the dip, in my personal opinion, because it's going to dip further. So at this current moment, and I'm going to point back to the video I did a couple days ago about why millennials should rethink retirement. And so why it will be worth your while, unless you know exactly what you're doing, you should strategically sit out on the sidelines. That will be my personal opinion, of course, because once again, we're witnessing something that has not occurred in quite some time. And we're supposed to be in economic expansion still. And so the economic consequences that we're all going to witness will be broken promises. So if you're dependent upon anything within this system directly in the form of a financial payout or a financial or returns on anything, like I saw, I got an email earlier about park your money in a money market fund for 6 months and you'll get 1.6% interest. I'm thinking, like, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me to park funds in something that you're guaranteed to lose just because it's below the rate of inflation, regardless of the numbers we've been given. And so once again, I thought I would shoot a little video and just to not scare people, but just think beyond the system. Like, the system right now has always been designed to keep us trapped in it. And so the best way that I think you can really protect and hedge yourself is to look for opportunities. And so having that interview I did earlier this week with Rocky, and I walked away from that last interview thinking that, with all this chaos will come an abundance of opportunities. It's just a matter of acquiring the skill set and the know-how on how to take advantage of it. And so once again, I think it boils down to protecting yourself, depending on what demographic you follow. If you're in the younger age range, you'll have more time to recoup any potential losses, more than likely. But if you're a little bit older and expecting some payouts in the next this decade especially, man, it's going to be rough to do such. And so once again, if you can't hold it or control it directly, is that really considered investing? And in my personal opinion, we're no longer in the land of investing. We're gambling and speculating, because the risk increases week by week exponentially, because central banks are really about to get involved. Therefore, all the what will be considered normal nominal gains will literally be artificial in nature, even more so than they have been this last decade of expansion. But anyway, thought I would share my thoughts on some of the economic consequences with this Dow reaching an all-time low in a single day of 1,200 points. And we have Friday, and then a week after that. And as long as this health scare continues to become borderless, there is no end in sight. And so the Federal Reserve will have to begin injecting stuff directly outright in order to instill confidence, because it's all about confidence and keeping the public calm. And so, yeah, just something to leave you with. What are your thoughts about this? Is this 1,200 just beginning, or will tomorrow be worse, or will they try to be some type of recovery, or what? I'm curious to find out what you guys think. Other than that, enjoy your day and try to just be grateful and just appreciate the blessings you have at this current point. That's what I'm trying to do. So, and look forward to hearing the comments in the section down below. Thanks.